Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 21st of November 2018. So, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Wednesday's afternoon session where we're going to have a look at a few instruments, a few charts. But as always, before we start looking at that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimers. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay guys, so now then let's jump into the chart. Now the first one I want to touch on, and this index, we don't really look at it very often, but nevertheless it's also important, and I'm of course talking about the CAC 40, which is the French index, and certainly we're stuck here in a very interesting spot. As you can see, yesterday the index managed to reach the October low here, and from which it kind of rebounded back to the upside. Today it kind of opened inside the yesterday's candle here, the daily candle. So of course now, even though it is kind of turning slightly more towards the bullish side, but nevertheless, probably I believe that we could in a way end the day like this. So if this of course stays, if this candle here stays like this, and we see this candle forming a bullish candle, but it will stay within the range of yesterday's candle. Now probably for those who are familiar with such patterns, we could have a harami here, a bullish harami of course. So in a way we could see further acceleration here to the upside, where we could then aim for the levels that we saw recently here in the first half of November. Certainly that's the theory, that's according to the textbooks, and let's of course wait until this day is going to finish, because anything could happen before the close. But like I said, if this is going to close like this, then like I said, we could see maybe some bullish activity kicking in here, maybe of course according to all the textbooks and like that. So yep guys, for now be very cautious, and that's why I've got this area highlighted here. So I've got these important levels here. So the 4,980 level, this is the one that we're going to be keeping an eye on. A nice good pop above this could open the path towards the next potential area of resistance near the 5,055 area, something like that, approximately there, because this area here could coincide with the 21 EMA that we've got here shown as the yellow line. Maybe it's not very clearly visible, but I can assure you it's there. And again, if this continues to push further up here, now we could see maybe a test of the highs that we saw here in the beginning of November, and that was approximately around the 5,170 level. So in a way, if we would see something like this, and if we would see the this index traveling back up here towards the 5,170 zone, and of course if it would stall near this level, then we could see something like of a range here. So something that all the range traders are always hoping for, and yep, we could see a nice range here, a nice wide range. So yep, keep your eyes on that one, but that's only of course if we get a nice pop here above the 4,980 zone. On the downside, if let's say this doesn't work out as a bullish harami here, then keep your eyes on the 4,896 level, approximately there. Now this was marked by the lows here that we saw recently. So as you can see, it's it acts as a very nice area of support here, but if this eventually gets broken, this is what could potentially happen. Let me just kind of drag this one a little bit higher. So we could in a way see further declines here, and the next level that we're going to be keeping an eye on is going to be the 4,806 level. Now this level, just to kind of show you, it's where it's sat in history here. It has been here the low of the 24th of February last year. So this is the last time this level got tested, but of course if that level doesn't hold, further declines could be possible, and we do have a very good potential strong area of support here near the 4,735, which was marked here by the lowest point of February of the same year, so 2017. So something for you guys to keep an eye on. Certainly, like I said, for these levels, for us to see these levels, we would need to see a nice good break here below the 4,896 level. I do apologize for my voice, getting a little bit rough here, but nevertheless, let's continue. So like I said, keep your eyes on this 4,896. Let's see how that plays out. Jumping into WTI, so which is the US oil. Looking at this one, of course, like Brent, also sold off yesterday, but today we're seeing that the bulls are picking up from the lows here and kind of trying to push the commodity back up. But what's interesting here, this is where the commodity found its resistance here today. So it was just near the lows of the 13th of November, and that was approximately around the 54.80 zone. So keep your eyes on that one. Of course, this is going to be the important level to watch. So the 54.80, if we get a nice pop here above this, then we could in a way aim for a retest of the level of the highs that we saw here around the 19th or even the 16th of November, which was approximately around here, around the 57.90 zone. Certainly, like I said, could be a nice potential area of resistance. But what's more important is this downside resistance line, this kind of short-term downside resistance line. So if this, let's say, this commodity pushes back up here towards the 57.90 level, in a way it would also test this downside resistance line. Now, for us to get comfortable with higher levels, we would probably need to see a nice good break here, not only above this downside resistance line, but also above the 57.90 level, and this way we could then aim for slightly higher levels. Now, we do have a good potential area of resistance here around 60 mark. Now, this psychological 60 barrier, as you can see in the past, it acted as a very nice area of support here around the 8th of March this year, of course. So if that gets broken, then yep, we could in a way expect further acceleration here, maybe even going all the way here towards the 62.50, which was marked here by the high of the this 8th of November. Just slightly below that, if you want to consider this level as well, the 61.90 level. Now, this was the low of the 9th of April, so keep your eyes on that one, of course. But again, I'll probably repeat myself. For us to get comfortable with higher levels, again, we would need to see a nice good pop here above the 57.90 level, approximately there. And for those who are more on the conservative side, you can even away round it up towards the 58 zone. On the downside, well, probably no secret here. We're going to be looking at the lows here of yesterday's lows near the 52.80 zone. So a nice good break here below this 52.80 could in a way open the path towards much lower levels here, and the lower levels that I'm talking about here are going to be these around here, especially the low of the 6th of October of last year, and that was approximately around the 49.20 zone. Certainly don't forget that in this area here as well, we do have the psychological 50 barrier, which is just slightly above this level here, the 49.20. Let me just kind of adjust this a little bit better here. There we go, something like that. So like I said, don't forget about the psychological 50, but then again, we will only consider these lower levels if we're going to get a nice good break here below the 52.80 zone. So just the 52.80, the low of yesterday. So keep your eyes on this one, guys. Certainly, like I said, keep your eyes on these two levels that I was just talking about. Let's see how that works out. Jumping into euro dollar. Now, this one is a interesting one, especially from today's trading perspective. For this one, I'll jump into a 4-hour chart. As you can see, we had a nice push here away from this short-term upside support line that has been running here since from the lows of the 13th of November. The pair pushed back up here, still wasn't able to get above the the quite important, the 114.20 zone, well, just slightly overshot it a little bit, but got met its resistance near the 200 EMA, and also it still got back below this this short-term downside resistance line taken from the peak of the 16th of October. You can see that now the pair is kind of slightly retracing, and what's interesting here, we do have a, well, it's bad to even to call this as a triangle, or but nevertheless we can use the term as coiling up here a little bit. So you can see it's kind of getting slightly squeezed here, so in a way we could see some activity here a little bit more, but for us, let's say, to start looking at lower levels from the more near-term perspective, I mean, we would need to see, let's say, if it's a lower level, then we would need to see a nice good break below this upside support line, and also a nice good close, especially on the daily chart, on the daily candle, below the 113.55 zone, which was the low of yesterday. So this could in a way confirm an upcoming lower low here, from, of course, since this reversal, since yesterday's reversal to the downside. So we could then see further declines here, potentially even aiming for the 113.35, or even actually lower. So, but of course, let's not get ahead of ourselves too much with the downside here. First, we need to see that good drop here below the upside support line, and also a drop below the 113.55. On the upside, if, let's say, this travels back up here and moves above the 200 EMA, certainly this could be a nice good bullish sign, from the, of course, from the short-term perspective, because the pair would still need to overcome this important area around here, around the 114.65, something like that, approximately there. Or in a way, you could even just drag it a little bit lower to the 114.60. So in a way, you should keep a close eye on this one, because a nice good pop above this could eventually lead this pair towards the 115 zone, so back towards the 115. So the 115 was last tested near around the 7th of November, but then again, like I said, for now we're going to be very cautious here, and we're going to continue monitoring this 200 EMA, especially this downside resistance line, this very short-term downside resistance line that continues to kind of to hold the pair down. But for now, like I said, be very careful. And let's wait for a nice break here, either to the upside or to the downside. Jumping into one pair that you probably don't really look at very often, and that's Aussie against the New Zealand dollar. So for those who are trading that pair, of course, you probably follow that very carefully. But looking at that daily chart, you can see that the pair, it's kind of currently finding its support here near the 106.10 level. Approximately there. It has been is marked by the inside swing high here of the 6th of April. So of course, the big question here is, are we going to get a nice close here today on this daily chart? If we do, that's wonderful for the bulls, for the bears, and we could see further slide lower here. But currently, just judging from the picture that we're seeing right now, it seems that it's struggling to overcome this. It did once, especially yesterday, for example, it did once, but then kind of got back above it, and today again it did the same thing. It dropped below that, but quickly got back above the 106.10 level. So keep your eyes on this one, because if this continues to push now higher, let's say tomorrow, then yep, we could see maybe a bit of a correction here back to the upside, as we do have still this downside resistance line that has been running here from around the 10th of August. So we could in a way get a test of that line, because we're quite away from that one right now, but again, like I said, for now we're just going to be very cautious. In a way, we're still going to keep a close eye on it, as you can see by the 4-hour chart here. For those short-term traders, you could in a way keep your eyes on this little level right around here, around the 106.50 zone. So something like that, a nice good pop above this could open the path towards higher levels like the 107.10 here, or even higher. So but again, for now, don't rush into this yet. Let's see how this level plays out, the 106.50, if of course it plays out. But the big question here is how it will perform near the 106.10 10 today. Jumping into GBPJPY, this one's having a nice push here to the upside today. Certainly after this kind of prolonged move lower, it seems like there could be some hope here for the GBPJPY bulls, and if we do get a nice pop here above this little short-term downside resistance line, then yep, keep your eyes on these higher levels, especially the 145.68, or even a little bit higher here. Keep your eyes on the 146.30. So could be a nice potential area of resistance. But again, the scenario that I'm talking about here is, of course, if we're going to get a nice pop here above this downside resistance line, and also a nice good break above the 144.90 level here. So keep your eyes on this one. Let's see how that plays out. On the downside, we do have some good potential areas of support. Certainly from the short-term perspective, you could keep an eye on this 144 level. A break below that could drag the pair towards the 143.20, which was the low of the 30th of October. And the last pair I wanted to quickly touch on, another yen pair here. Now, another yen pair. So CHFJPY, you can see that kind of it's struggling to overcome this quite important area of resistance here at around 113.65, but nevertheless we're not giving up here, and I think the pair is not giving up here. So if we do get a nice close here, especially on the daily chart, and let me just jump into that one very quickly, a nice good close above this level here, the 113.65 could open the path towards much higher levels like the 115.30 or even higher. But for now you can see that it's kind of slightly struggling to overcome that barrier. So, but again, let's say that the day is not finished and the week is not finished yet, so we still might see something happening here. And if we do get a nice pop here above, like I said, we could in a way start aiming for these higher levels. On the downside, well, I mean, don't forget that we're still above this short-term upside support line. So for us, in a way, to start considering much lower levels, we would need to see a nice good drop here below the 112.10 zone, approximately there, and this way we could then target the recent lows here, or should I say the October lows of the around 111.55, and if that doesn't hold, further declines could be possible towards the 110.85. So for now guys, certainly this is looking more bullish than bearish, but be very careful with the 113.65 level. We need to see that nice good close above this on the daily candle, and then we'll consider much higher levels. Okay guys, thank you very much for watching and listening, and I hope you found it useful. And if you want to join me tomorrow morning at my Traders Espresso, and that's 7 o'clock GMT time, so yep, feel free to join in. But for now, I hope you have a fantastic evening, and thank you, and bye for now. Bye bye.